Justice must not only be done, it must also be seen to be done. But how does the UK ensure that its judges remain neutral and independent, and why does it matter so much? In the UK, the judiciary plays a vital role in upholding the rule of law. To do this effectively, judges must both be independent and impartial, and these principles are not just ideals, they are embedded in the very structure of the legal system. So these three values, independence, impartiality, and integrity, the three I's, are the foundation of judicial conduct in the UK. Judges are expected to apply the law fairly without influencing politics, media, or personal beliefs. So, how is neutrality maintained? Well, it's maintained in a number of ways. Firstly, you have institutional independence. Judges are appointed, they're not elected, reducing political pressure. So you have the Judicial Appointments Commission, for example, which makes sure that judges have to go through a rigorous program of interviews. They have to apply for that post as well. Their salaries are also paid from the Consolidated Fund. Again, this is independent of Parliament, independent of political interference. You also have the Constitutional Reform Act 2005. So this Constitutional Reform Act physically separated the judiciary from the legislature and the executive. Previously, you had a fusion of powers in the United Kingdom. That is sorted out by the Constitutional Reform Act of 2005. So it removed the Lord Chancellor's judicial role and created, most importantly, the independent UK Supreme Court. Previously, it was in the House of Lords, it was in the legislature. Now it's physically removed from the legislature. You also have the sub judice rule. So MPs and ministers are barred from commenting on ongoing court cases, preventing political interference. And you have a list of judicial conduct guidelines that judges have to try to follow. Judges, for example, have to avoid political activity and public commentary and policy. Judges are not allowed to be members of political parties, for example. There's the Kilmuir rules existing, which they actually forbade judges from participating in public debates about policy matters to try to preserve their objectivity and their neutrality. However, these restrictions have been relaxed somewhat since the 1980s. Judges are also expected to not express their open support for pressure groups or protest movements. They can vote, but their political views have to be kept from the public. They also have the right to relative anonymity, and an awful lot of them take that right to anonymity. They are trained, they're highly trained, and they're trained to recognize and avoid unconscious bias. They also have training process in place for years. Over 20 years, for example, are needed as a barrister, and it's designed to enable judges to focus entirely on legal considerations. They have to also be accountable. So their ability to act impartially is aided by the requirement that judges or judgments are based on evidence. Senior judges must explain their rulings. They have to highlight specific points of law because this creates a precedent. When law lords hand down a judgment, they have to provide an extensive written account of proceedings, explaining how they base their decisions, linked to law and not any form of personal opinion. And Supreme Court rulings are heard in public, and they're filmed, and decisions are published on the website. Why then does this matter? Well, it matters because you have to have trust in the legal system. People must believe that justice is fair and unbiased. It has to protect the public from government overreach as well. So an independent judiciary can challenge unlawful actions by the state. There's also the rule of law. Neutral judges ensure that laws apply equally to everyone, regardless of status or power. So in a democracy, the courts are the guardians of fairness. Judicial neutrality isn't just a legal requirement, it's a cornerstone of public trust and democratic freedom. Please subscribe for more insights on how justice works around the United Kingdom and around the world. Many thanks for listening.